You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, Harry here from Drake Wing Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming at you another Let's Play episode of Far Beyond the World. So, the last place we left off, we were just saved in the nick of time by Varissa, who was telling us that we are under her protection. If they want to do anything, they're gonna have to kill her first. So, let's hope they don't make good. Let's hope they don't follow through on that, shall we? Anyway, guys, sit back and enjoy, and let's jump right back into it. Alright, alarm chain, you're up. Okay, let's do it. You did what? The older male snarls in complete outrage, his clawed paws almost itching to grab her, but she doesn't even flinch. Whatever Varissa did seems drastic, as the chief barely contains his rage. She did mention she needed to do two things to get this sorted. Stabbing was one. I guess this altar thing was the other. I did everything according to the guidance I received. As long as the human remains within the village, any wolf who does him harm renounces his tribe and our ancestors. The old wolf looks at her with a mixture of anger and disbelief, while the guards gaze between each other and me. The chief finally takes a deep breath and sheathes his sword. By Aluna, I hope you know what you're doing. Release him! The other male waves his paw at the guards, who let Ranic go. I can swear he was about to rush towards me, but composes himself at the last second, realizing all eyes are on him. His wound! Varissa turns to regard me and approaches slowly. She kneels next to me, touching the bloody dressing and pressing down on it slightly. I wince as it stings a little, but there is not much pain. She rubs her fingers covered in my blood, bringing them to her nose and taking idle sniffs. It's fine. It'll clog itself in a few moments. She states, returning to face the others and rubbing her paw into a bundled linen on the floor. I do hope she's right, as the bandages got quite red. One of you has to stay here and keep an eye on that mongrel. Don't let him out of sight. If he tries anything, do it you much short of killing him. Varissa stops, looking back at the guards. No, the human is not to be harmed under any circumstance. Unless either of you don't mind being banished. The guards look frantically between each other and then gaze at the chief, who sighs in annoyance. Fine, I'm sure you can overpower that whelp without any serious injury if it comes to that. He'll be good. He's very cooperative. The chief glances at me and then gives Ranic a stern look. More than can be said about you. With that, they leave the room. Ranic stops at the doorway, looking back at me with a sorrowful gaze. I'm sure he didn't imagine this day to take such a turn, but here we are. I almost feel angry at myself that I didn't make better use of the time we had together. I can't tell myself I couldn't have known, because I did know. Vul did warn me that very first night. I just didn't listen. I tried to give him a reassuring smile, to give him strength to go through whatever is going to happen next. He returns the gesture just before he leaves the room. The two guards place in form of rock, paper, scissors to decide who's going to be saddled with me for the rest of the day. The loser grunts in annoyance, and it almost makes me chuckle. This is so familiar behavior. The other male leaves in a hurry, while the other one is forced to watch over me stands in the doorway, taking a dignified pose. He's regarding me from time to time with both suspicion and disgust. I try to at least kill time talking with him, however, we still have to play the game of me being ignorant. I just resign myself to that corner, sitting beneath the window ledge and observing how the shadows in the room grow longer and darker. Knowing my fate is being decided in some meeting a stone throw away unsettles me, and I feel a knot forming inside my stomach. Time stretches mercilessly, and it almost feels as if I am sitting here for days. The guard rarely moves, just standing there and looking at me every now and then. He seems both curious and troubled by me, and it's the only form of entertainment I have. Each time I lock my gaze at him for much longer than he deems appropriate, he issues a warning growl. It's not hard to understand it to stop staring at me. Eventually, the yellow light gives way to orange and finally blue tints. Day turns into night, and the meeting seems to still be ongoing, which doesn't fill me with confidence. If Varissa had this truly figured out, the meeting wouldn't drag on like this, would it? Not knowing my fate is torture. Are these my last moments before execution? Or if the female manages to save my life, will I get cast out instead? Whatever the outcome, the only thing that keeps worrying me is if I get to see Ranic again. I want to be with him alone just one more time so we can talk. I want to fix whatever mistake we made this morning. He's not defective, not to me, and I want him to know that. I might be confused about what is going on here, but I don't want him to believe that being himself is in any way wrong. That little exchange triggered something inside of me. I felt like being in his shoes before. I did allow others to dictate what I can and cannot be. That's what a feeling even my memory loss cannot erase. He's right. The situation is a clean slate, and I don't want to feel like that ever again. I like guys, and I will never be ashamed of it. I will not allow anyone to make me feel defective. And I will do everything in my power to ensure that he does not allow himself to be boxed in either. I'm not having any illusions that he's into me. What happened in the morning was just a fluke. I'm a scrawny little kid. What could possibly a handsome wolf like him want with me? Wait, handsome? Oh no. I don't even know why I think about this. Is it possible I started having feelings towards him? This is absurd. It's just in my head. I'm in a stressful situation, and you don't fall for a guy in a stressful situation. Especially when you just met. It's like the biggest cliche there is. And yet, am I into him? Yes. I think I might be. I mutter under my breath, drawing attention of the guard. Shit. He's not surprised, though. At least, not as every other wolf was so far. He simply shrugs and returns to look at the wall in front of him. I guess he didn't hear me. Good. This is so messed up. I sigh, simply slumping into the wall and gazing at the ceiling in resignation. 100 years later, I finally doze off. Gentle patting on my shoulder stirs me from my sleep, and I can hear a muffled voice break through the veil. Orien! Huh? What? Okay, I guess the guard left. I open my eyes sleepily, blinking to adjust my vision. The gray wolf squats in front of me with a gentle smile. Without thinking, I throw myself into his arms, tipping him over. Oh God. He lands on his butt with an amused oof, embracing me tightly. I can sense that my reaction surprised him, but the swoosh of his tail assures me I did it in a good way. I rub my head against his neck fluff, just taking in his scent. I didn't think it was possible to miss someone so much. Suddenly, I remember the other wolf keeping watch over me, pulling away from Ranic in order to avoid making a scene. As the wolf readjusts himself, I notice that we're in fact alone. Where's the guard? He's gone now. The wolf smiles at me. Hope you were treated okay. He might as well have been part of the furniture, didn't budge or make a sound. Why are you on the floor? You should have used the bed. Ranic raises one brow, nodding towards it. Honestly, I was afraid to startle the guy. He was super tense. Huh! For someone so tiny, you're incredibly ballsy when dealing with wolves. And again, with that Kalen stuff, he's been calling me Tiny a lot. I guess he really likes that nickname. Since I see you instead of an executioner, I take it we're good? Yes. He nods with clear relief. Everything's fine. You're released into my custody. Well, what does that mean? That... He cuts off, slightly troubled. He's clearly looking for the right words. That I'm responsible for you. So, pretty much what we wanted, no? I inquire, as the pause made me slightly worried. Yes, pretty much. He chuckles, extending a paw to help me up. As I stand up, my eyes are immediately hit by a harsh beam of light. Damn, it's morning already? I squint. Yeah. You talked throughout the day and night? It was a hard sell. He admits with a bit of embarrassment. I told you my people are rather set in their ways. Also, Varissa is questioned a lot due to her age. Many of the villagers don't trust her ability to speak with the spirits. And then you have the elders. They like to talk. So that's why it's called the Howl. I propose cheekily, and he suppresses an idle laughter. I swear, my father was getting pretty fed up halfway through the meeting. No wonder, if it started at noon, you pretty much spent 18 hours arguing. Yeah, and it got pretty heated. My father's position. He pauses as if not sure whether he should elaborate or not, forcing me to pry. The wolf sighs, reaching up towards his shoulder pad. It's a long story, and for another time. Just know there are things the elders like to bring up against him. I watch uncomfortably as he struggles to undo a latch beneath the metal plate. You need help with that? Looks rather fiddly. I ask needlessly, as I find my hands already reaching out towards his paws. God, a big yawn! Damn it, yawn, go away! Come again another day. You don't have to. He pauses, as my small fingers already sunk beneath the plate. With a click, the piece of armor is detached, and the wolf places it carefully down on the ground. Thank you. I watch as he removes his cloak along the leather straps which secured the shoulder pad in place and held the blade on his back. He rests his massive longsword against the wall, next to the chest. Only now I have a good look at that thing. It's nearly as tall as the candelabra. It must weigh a freaking ton, which explains his massive arms. I bet he could easily split me in half. My eyes wander around the room as a blush creeps onto my face, especially as he undoes his belt, allowing it to clang to the floor with a loud thud. Do you want me to pull it all the way? The chest, perhaps? Another flop draws my gaze back to him, as he dropped his padded armor carelessly onto the heap. Aren't you settling into your role? He laughs teasingly. Let's just leave it here. I'll have to put it back on soon enough. I only have a few hours to rest. The wolf walks towards the bed and sits down, reclining back onto his elbows. Oh, that's a good picture. I follow and take the spot next to him. It's a beautiful morning, and although the wolf's expression invites me to admire the light spectacle outside, my eyes wander to the sun rays gently kissing his sculpted body. It almost seems that the light redefines his musculature, making it even more pronounced than before. I shake my head slightly, trying to regain my train of thought. What is wrong with me? So, we're dealing with a distrusted shaman and a questioned leader. I think out loud, reflecting on our conversation as it did not exactly put me at ease. Seems like this whole place is pretty unstable. You have no idea. Ranic laughs, smiling at me with amusement. That's not a good thing. If anything, it sounds like my situation isn't exactly sorted, and it's clear Ranic realizes that. He sighs and nods in defeat. I know. But one thing at a time, friend. He pats my shoulder reassuringly. Friend, I'm both glad and distraught to hear him call me that. Poor Orien ended up in the friend zone, at least for now. I treasure his friendship, and I'm glad our previous mishap didn't hamper it, but is it really all he wants me to be? I sigh, not even sure where my thoughts are taking me. We sit like this for a moment in silence. I can clearly see he doesn't know what else to say while I'm deep in my thoughts. I desperately try to escape my infatuation. There are more important things at hand. If Arissa's and Chief's positions are indeed insecure, I might prove to be their undoing. For whatever reason, I feel like I have unwittingly become a pawn in a game I won't even get to play, but I'm getting ahead of myself. With the Chief's apparent fury and now the entire tribe's attention on me, I just need to focus on surviving until the next day. I slump a little, realizing that this whole mess unfolded the way it did due to my own carelessness. I'm sorry I allowed myself to be seen like that. I did ask you to stay out of sight. He nods with a slight smile. You did, and I fucked up. It's just, there was so much going on. Relax, it wasn't all your fault. The little shit should have stayed away. He always sneaks around my house, but I thought he learned his lesson after last time I caught him outside my windows. I can hear a stifled growl brewing deep inside his throat, which makes me wonder about the pup. Ranic doesn't seem to like him very much. Who is he? He's my younger brother. Well, half-brother anyway. The wolf rolls his eyes in annoyance. Ever since I moved out from the villa, he snoops around. He probably just misses you, I propose, as I find it rather harsh towards the child, even if he did put our lives in danger. Ranic simply closes his eyes and releases an exasperated sigh. That's neither here nor there. I'm not his damned den mother. I assume that's some sort of a village nanny. I can see he's clearly annoyed, so I allow him a moment to calm down before I continue my questioning. What's his name? He doesn't have one. He hasn't earned it yet. Well, you have to call him something. I chuckle. Yeah, a pup call of sorts. It's like a nickname, usually derived from the pup's behavior or physique. His is Howl. As you can guess, he wouldn't shut up when he was born, although if you ask me, he should have been called Snitch. He'll be like that, he's just a kid. I smile awkwardly. A very nosy and annoying one, that's for sure. Seeing him so grumpy and serious almost demands a tease. As if you were a well-behaved pup. I laugh him off. With your tendency to seek out trouble, I'd say it runs in the family. I wonder what's your pup name? I chuckle and I can see his eyes widen in shock. But only for a moment as he quickly narrows his eyes, grumbling. Well, you can continue to wonder. Come on, are you seriously not going to tell me? It's a grave insult to use a pup call towards an adult wolf. He states in a serious tone. Once we stake a claim to our name tree, our pup name is meant to be forgotten. Seriously, your people need to learn to relax a bit. All this posturing is a little over the top. I laugh him off, but his expression doesn't soften, and I think I found another sore spot. It's not posturing. If you pup name a wolf, he is honor bound to challenge you to a duel to prove his mantle. You people duel over misnaming? It's not a trifle, it's deadly serious. He scolds me. Yeah, so far with your people, everything is. By using a pup name, you're basically questioning a wolf's worth. The only way to restore honor is through combat, often to the death. Man, you people are like way too serious about everything. Good lord. Yeah, why am I surprised? If you kill over a name tree, why would misnaming be any different? The wolf issues a long huff, giving me a mixture of a hurt and patronizing gaze. Look, Orien, I understand you're a human. I don't know anything about your culture, but I'm sure I'd find half of your practices objectionable, to say the least. He states defiantly, causing me to blink. We have lots to learn from each other, I can see that, but for any learning to take place, there has to be a willingness to listen and understand one another. I want to learn from you, but so far all you do is mock our customs and give me flack over things I don't control. He finishes chastising me, and I slightly sink into my shoulders. Although harsh, his words ring true. I've been overly cynical, if not outright critical, of his way of life. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I admit defeat. All this is just extremely confusing to me, but none of it is meant as an insult. I guess it's just my defense mechanism. I don't understand what's going on, and I don't remember anything beyond what's happening here and now. So, instead of panicking, I try to pick apart everything that's new. He listens carefully to my explanation, his expression shifting a little. I'm really sorry. I'm just trying to fill up this utter void in my head, so I tend to overthink everything you tell me. You seem quite functional for someone who claims to have an empty mind, he mutters, almost as if he began questioning my memory loss. It's all just an act. In reality, I'm in the same boat as you are. I don't know any more about the human culture than you do. He narrows his eyes, but this time more worried than annoyed. I don't remember how humans do things, but I somehow feel that even if you were to tell me, it would still be just as alien as the rest of this is. What are you saying? You weren't living among your kin? In truth, I want to tell him I feel as if I'm from another world entirely, but this would just be admitting lunacy. I sigh in resignation. Yeah, I guess so. So I suppose you live somewhere among the Tiggery then. Tiggery, however you pronounce that. Which would explain your superiority complex. I give him an annoyed look. Your guess is as good as mine. I can see his eyes drill into me as if expecting me to elaborate. I don't know what to tell you, Ranic. I've got nothing. I shrug and he scoffs in amusement. Well, not exactly. You still have your compass. He bumps into me with his shoulder, forcing a reluctant laugh out of me. If you say so. I shrug defeated and the wolf looks towards the window. It's clear that my memory loss bothers him almost as much as it bothers me. It does kind of put a hole in his plan. Can't take me home if there is no home to speak of. Eventually, after a moment of silence, he looks back at me with his usual determination. Heh, there's always tomorrow. We'll get you your memories, Kalen. He grins, ruffling my hair, and I smile back at him for a moment before I pause. Hold on. Suddenly it hits me. All this time he's been using my characteristic as a nickname. I can see his grin widen at my realization. You dick, you pup-named me! Took you a while. He winks cheekily and I snicker. All this talk about how insulting this is while you've been pup-calling me all along. You're such a hypocrite. As the kettle said to the pot. He snorts and I decide to teasingly punch his shoulder, although putting some actual force behind it. My knuckles buckle as if I hit a stone wall and I immediately have to cradle my hand in slight discomfort, causing him to laugh. Also not really a hypocrite, if you are as helpless as a pup. He laughs off my pathetic attempt at roughhousing and in turn punches me right in the chest. Just like I did, he placed a little bit of force behind his tease and I winced in pain, rubbing my now aching breast. See? A total pup. He snorts while I kept rubbing the sore spot with feigned annoyance. when I noticed his eyes dart to my side with a worried expression. It's almost as if he forgot himself and is now worried that he might have overdone with the punch. Such a good wolf. How's your wound? The wolf asks, his voice lined with concern. I was worried sick, couldn't think straight about anything else. Honestly, I think it's fine. I look down at the bloodied bandage. Although it looks bad, the blood has dried off and the wound beneath doesn't even hurt anymore. I'm glad no one took a look at it, because Vol might have been too careful. Are you complaining that he didn't stab you hard enough? He laughs nervously. Well, I've never been stabbed before, but this thing feels too good for a grave wound. Alright, guys. Hey, shut up. Alarm chat. Enough. Oh, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been another episode of Far Beyond the World. We gotta look at some more art assets. It's always nice to have a little bit of eye candy to stare at. God, man, you are sculpted like a furry Adonis. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that notification bell until the next video. I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!